All right, so we're gonna be making Texas caviar, one of our favorite dishes. The main ingredient in this really is collard greens, and they're gonna be uncooked. So one of the main things with collard greens is really thinking about how do you get them off the stem. So make an OK sign with your hand, and you can just pull the leaf off of the stem. Where the stem will break, you know that stem is tender enough to cut up with the leaves. We'll keep the rest of the stem for a later purpose and chop those up together. So now that we have all the leaves, we wanna stack them up, and we're gonna roll them together, and rolling them up will allow us to cut them into smaller pieces. Make a bridge, cut down the middle here, and then if you want to, you can make another bridge and roll it over and make it even smaller. Now we're gonna turn it to its side, gather them together, focus on your bear claw, and then go ahead and dice them up just like this, making it into smaller pieces. So now with the leftover stem, we're gonna gather those together, and we're just gonna dice it up like we would celery, and we'll use it in dishes just like celery. This does not have to be thrown in the trash. This is another thing that we can add into our dish and utilize without wasting food. All right, so as you can see, this onion's pretty big, kind of hard to hold. This happens often, they're not always perfect, so just try to get as best of a grip as you can. Focusing on that bear claw, cutting off the top, cut it in half through that root end, doing that bridge method. We'll go ahead and cut it into a quarter because we only need a quarter of this onion for this dish. We don't want too much onion in here. You can save that for a later part. Go ahead and peel that off, and then we're gonna dice it up. Remember, horizontal slices, fingers up, palm down, and then we're gonna make our vertical cuts straight through using the tip of the knife, holding it in a bridge method here, and then we're gonna turn it and get our dice. And if you have a few extra pieces in there, just go ahead and dice those up together. So for celery, we really want to cut it up into small pieces so that it's not such a pungent flavor whenever you take a bite, and that's all you taste. So once more, just do the bridge and run your knife down the middle, make it into smaller pieces so when we go and make our dice, again, itty bitty pieces in our dish. That way it's enjoyable, it adds flavor, but not too much. The leaves are edible, so go ahead and fold those up and dice it up just like this. All right, so just dice it up until you get down to this bottom part. A lot of people don't like putting that in their dish, but it is edible, so we can save that. We can put it in our veggie broth, or we can go ahead and cut it up in this dish. It is perfectly fine, just whatever you like best. So now when we go to cut our bell pepper, remember we want to cut the top off and the bottom off. These portions are edible, so save those for a later use. We're gonna run our knife through one edge here, and then we're just gonna cut through and pull out that center portion with the seeds in it. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut it up into smaller sections that we can work with. Remember, we wanna cut it skin side down because that skin's very tough and slippery. As you're making your slices, when you get down to that final portion, go ahead and bridge it and just cut through. That way it's a little safer. Turn them, gather, and then bear claw and make your dice. All right, so as we're talking about garlic, remember garlic is delicious, we love it, but if you put a big chunk of raw garlic into a dish, it's gonna be a little hard to eat. So the first thing we need to do is get that outer peel off. So just again, lean into your knife, don't slap your knife, just lean into it. Remember to save it for your compost. All right, so for this garlic, the big thing we're gonna be doing here is really making it nice and flat. So fingertips on the top of the blade there, and we're gonna just be dragging the edge of the blade to flatten it out nice and even. And then using the pivot point with our hand, we're gonna go back and forth and mince up the garlic to tiny, tiny pieces. All right, so when we have canned beans, we wanna rinse out the liquid that's in the beans. So just pour it into a strainer and then rinse water over it until you see the liquid come out clear on the bottom. All right, so now that we have everything gathered into our salad bowl, we're gonna go ahead and top it with our beans, our onions, and our celery, and then we're gonna be making our dressing. So the way we make our dressing, we use a mason jar or a small jar. You could even use a leftover jar that you have, anything that has a lid. The key to this is that we can pour all of our ingredients in and then you can shake it up. It's perfect, very, very simple. This salad dressing, we have some canola oil in there, some apple cider vinegar, and then we're gonna add in some honey, or you could use a different liquid sweetener if you'd like that, just to add a little bit of sweetness to the dish. Some Dijon mustard for a punch of flavor, some Worcestershire sauce, and then some cayenne pepper for some heat. And then we're gonna add in our salt. Go ahead and put the lid on tight, and then we're gonna shake it up until it's mixed nice and uniform. All right, as you can see, nice, beautiful vinaigrette here, and just dump it straight into the salad, and then we can mix it together. This salad's wonderful. It'll last for several days in the fridge, even after the dressing's mixed on, so you can make it ahead of time and have a wonderful dish to serve to everyone. Hope you enjoy.